with a lot of abilities, a lot of psychic abilities and supernatural abilities, spiritual abilities.
Yes.
You know, indigo children, that's what they call them.
Okay.
And yeah, so they're saying a lot today that's going on. So I imagine that they will become, maybe we'll be evolving into an age where people are more in tune and more aware, and maybe even communication will be different.
And people are a little bit more open to these kind of things than they used to be.
Well, they are, yes, absolutely.
Because you couldn't talk about these things before without being ridiculed or people thinking you were strange, and now people are actually coming and asking questions and not being afraid of these things.
Well, I was asking questions as a child, and I was being told, "No, it's not. Don't you know, you're crazy. Don't think about things like that." I said, "But I know that there's more than meets the eye. I know that there's more out there than we're being told, than we're shown, and then that it's being admitted. No, there's nothing out. Just, you know, and that's what I would get.
Yeah.
But I didn't let it deter me from believing what I wanted to, what I was going to believe."
Yeah, and actually I used to, when I was small, I would tell my classmates, I'd say, "You don't understand me today." I said, "But one day when you grow up, you're going to understand exactly what I'm saying to you." Because they all said, "You're a little strange." I said, "But to me it's very normal to see these things or to say these things, and but I know you don't understand." And I would never force my beliefs on anyone or what I would see. I just would mention it because I know one day when 20, 30 years later they would understand. And I'm sure a lot of people nowadays from that group of people will understand.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, like, they put a little damper on things that they don't understand, and they just put it down.
It's because they're afraid of it. So it's normal that you're going to try to put it off.
Yeah.
But what you don't understand frightens you.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's normal that people will react like that, but it's nice to know that when you lose someone, that you can actually keep in touch.
Yeah,
that is an absolutely beautiful feeling, and I'm having that with my father who passed.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I'd be a little bit too close to home, if that would be too close to home for me to actually communicate with him. But within half an hour that he passed, I sensed him already, and he's been communicating. He even tried calling my mom with at 1:02 in the morning and 1:05 in the morning with my cell phone and with my sister's cell phone, and I was in California at the time, and my sister was not using her cell phone, and he tried calling her, and she heard just peace on the other line, and she said, "Who is this?" And he just, like, the line just got cut, and then he tried again from another cell phone. So when my sister saw the listing on the phone, she saw both our numbers, and neither one of us had called her, especially not at 1:02 in the morning.
So in other words, he was calling from your cell phone to call her.
Yeah.
So how would he use your cell phone?
Go figure that one out.
Well, you know, they say spirit is with electricity and stuff like energy.
But the funny thing is that those calls were on our phones. And then 2 weeks later, I went to show this call to my mom. I said, "Ma, I still have it on the phone." It had vanished. It was the only call that vanished. It vanished from my mom's house phone, and it vanished from my sister's cell phone.
Wow.
So he was just trying to reach her. He knocks, once in a while, knocks at the window, or if she's sleeping in, he wakes her up. So it's nice. He's not constantly here, but he does show himself, which is beautiful because he knew that I could communicate with him. So that's nice. So when you have a loved one and you can communicate, because it is just a different dimension, because death is just a different part of life.
They're standing right next to you, but you just don't see them. They see you.
And unfortunately, they get frustrated because they're trying to pass the message, and you can't hear them. So a lot of times they will manipulate the electrical outlets, they will the television, whatever is electrical, they will play with it to show you a sign. They will flicker lights, they will close the TV, turn it on, stuff like that.
Or even sometimes even knock something over.
Definitely.
And hear something fall.
Well, if you start seeing things knocking over, it isn't a good sign.
Why?
Because it could be entities that are trying to be a little nasty. So you have to.
Really?
Yeah. Our loved ones will not normally throw things.
Well, not throw things, but, you know, I mean, make something fall over.
Yes, so that to get your attention.
To get your attention.
Yes,
not something that would hurt you.
Yeah, but you do have a lot that will hurt you.
I imagine that there are spirits around that will hurt you, But if you have your guardian angel, you have guides, and then you have your loved ones who have passed
Yes.
before you that are probably protecting you.
What they do is they chase them out your house.
They chase them out
Yes,
of your house.
they literally chase them because we have captured. I don't have it with me here.
There's orbs on there.
Yes, yes, yes. That's I believe, Dominican Republic again. I walked into the room and something felt a little off. And when I took a picture, the orb showed up right in the middle of the bed.
Wow, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so you were saying about they chase them out of your house.
Yes, they if people that see will actually see, because the restless ones are of color black or red or gray. They will not be white. So if your spirit guide is around, which normally he is, you will see the red or the black orb being chased by the white orb, and you can capture that. You can capture that on video as well.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And I didn't know there were different color orbs. That they were
Oh
all...
yes, no, depending on their levels.
Oh yeah.
Their energy levels. If they're very low entities, which we have plenty of, they will be black, or they will be red, or they will be gray.
Well, what would constitute a low entity?
Anybody that's restless, that has been stuck, that's of a gray color. That's anybody who's had an accident, who missed the light, anybody who was murdered. Also entities, people that were nasty when they were alive will be of that color because they're not going to be allowed to go and rest. Yeah.
Well, they said that once you pass, your personality stays the same.
Definitely.
What is this?
This is a picture that was taken at a castle in Holland, because Holland is one of my favorite countries, and I like going to castles. And in those castles, because they're so old, you find a lot of different, you see the lighting on the top. Mm-hmm. That's an energy source that's there. And you'll see like energy sources, white, red. It's entities that are stuck in these castles for hundreds of years and have no clue that they're stuck for hundreds of years because they think that they died yesterday. There is no concept of time on the other side.
Don't people go in and try to clear them out and move them on?
When not everybody wants to help or can help. And a lot of them are not even aware that they're there unless you capture them and unless you feel them.
We did an investigation at the Kreischer House here on Staten Island. It's a haunted place, very haunted. And we got like 60 spirits to just move on.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. This here is a strange object. It looks like a bird, but there was no bird when I took a picture. It's a black, for instance, the black that I was telling you, there is a black entity on the bottom part. That was at the entrance of the old church.
So that little black looking thing on the bottom, in the middle on the bottom?
Yes, that was not a bird.
That's a black entity?
Yes, a black entity.
So that's an entity of a person
that's stuck or
that's
is
stuck
restless.
for whatever reason.
Because when I was snapping the picture, there were no birds. And then this showed up right in the middle there. It looks like it has little feathers, but it wasn't a bird. Because I was very, I would have noticed.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've captured a lot of pictures, hundreds of them. It's kind of hard to keep them all aside. But like I said, if you go home and you look at your pictures, I'm sure you can get a nice little collection together. Because now you know what to look for.
Yeah.
If you don't know what to look for, you're just going to look at the people in the picture and you will not notice the little orbs.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's nice to. This here is what they look like, what entities look like when they move at a fast pace. They have little wiggles like that. And sometimes they show up in front of your camera and you see it go like this, you know, when they're being chased or.
So is this one entity here?
That's one entity.
Sort of like when you see a cartoon and you see like the wake or something.
That's when it's fast moving, right in front of the camera. This is what it looks like.
Wow.
And actually this picture was taken at the, in a turn of the century home that I had, that I was renovating for many months because I couldn't get it to sell. Everyone that would enter would leave with marks on their body, like scratch marks, and would be threatened. So I did a lot of work to try to sell it. And I made peace with the entities in there. I said, look, I won't bother you. You won't bother me. I'm just here to finish the house and sell it. And when I actually took pictures of the basement, hundreds, I don't know if we can have the picture for that, hundreds of entities showed up, hundreds of orbs in the basement. There it is. You can, if you look carefully, they look like little light balloons. Those are all entities, and they're all trapped in the
I see one up the steps there.
They're all over. It's kind of light, but they're all over. There was hundreds of them in this turn-of-the-century home, and no wonder I couldn't sell the house. anybody who would come see the house would be afraid.
So then what happened? Did you get rid of them or something? Or?
I cleaned it. I did a nice house cleansing. And as soon as I did that, we had an offer and it actually went through.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, and I actually sold that house.
So now you had hundreds of entities in there.
In the basement,
In the basement.
Yes.
And now you cleansed it.
I cleansed it.
And where did the entities go?
What happens is when they're of lower energy, I really see. Look at how many we have. It's the same basement.
Yeah, you could see the same. Yeah, you could see quite a few there.
Because I normally wouldn't hang around the basement because I felt very uneasy in the basement. So that's what we had. A house cleansing. I do that very often. I go to people's homes. I don't charge. I just do it for people that need help. So I go there and I spend 2-3 hours depending on the amount of floors they have. And everything is closed, doors, windows, and it purifies the whole home. So anything negative, which negativity can come from somebody visiting you, leaving, and their thoughts stay behind, can come from different forms. So if you've never done a house cleaning, a lot of energies are captured in there. Okay, there is another orb right there. You could see a little, you see it's very white on my father. Those are my parents with my little one.
Oh, how cute.
The little white orb is on my father's shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Because his shirt is dark, so you can see it much clearer.
Yeah, I see it.
And yeah. So when you do a house cleaning, you get rid of absolutely all the entities that are in there, all the negativity, and your house is pure. And because the negative energies can affect your health.
Yeah, I bet.
It can bring you illnesses.
What about, though, like there are people that you might want to have hanging around, like your
Those
father?
will not be banished.
They won't be?
No.
Okay.
When you do a house cleaning, you're not getting rid of
So
your
it's your
loved one.
intention then?
Yeah, they will not leave because that's your family. This is just the negative ones.
Right, okay, so they know enough that they don't have to leave.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And you know what? If somebody knows I'm doing, if the entities know, this picture here is of when we had our inauguration of our chapel. That's my mom and I, yes. But entities that are restless will hear me have a conversation with the owner of the house and will know that I'm going to banish them from the property, and they usually cause a lot of havoc the night before.
Oh, really?
Yes, they
and
do.
So the people
try
have
to
a restless night
Yes,
the night
they
before.
try to intimidate, they try to hurt, and then when I go, then they don't have a choice. They are sent out to somewhere in the universe, and it doesn't really matter where, because at that point, a lot of them have already done damage, so they need to be eliminated from the home.
So what becomes of them? I mean, you know, like we have reincarnation
yes.
and we'll come back and all that stuff. Will these people come back in any way, or?
Well, I ask if they want to go to the light. So if they're captured, if they're stuck, I'll give them the chance to go to the light. If they decide they just want to be nasty and they want to cause havoc to the owners of the homes, then they will be forced out. This here is one entity right on top.
Right above you, yes.
That was my cousin's brother, who I had communicated with just the day before, and he took a liking to me and decided to follow me for the next few days.
Oh, no.
Including on the train. But yeah, I had communicated with him. He had died very young. He was maybe in his 20s, and he had died from an accident, so he was not happy to be gone.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it.
I know. Well, I know. I remember several years ago there was a young man who was killed on a motorcycle, and I was doing a show with it was a live call-in show with a psychic, and a lady called up to say that, you know, talk about her son, and the psychic, and it was also a medium, said that he was okay, wanted her to know she was okay. I talked to the lady's friend a couple of days later. She called me because she asked me to get a copy of the show. And she said that they were alone in the house 2 weeks after the young man was killed. And all of a sudden, they heard a crack in the living room. It was the TV just coming on, went straight to my show. And it was like this young man wanted his mother to see the show so that she could call in and find out that he was okay.
I see. See?
You know?
When they have a message, they will go all out.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, okay. So now, do we have any more pictures with spirits and entities? Yeah. Well, there's the angel.
Yes.
That's in the chapel.
Yes, that's the angel of sympathy. Actually, there's a story of an entity, of a friend of ours who lost his father, and I hadn't known about this person passing, and I had never spoken to our friend about it. We were at a basketball game, and all of a sudden, the father showed up, and he wanted to communicate to the son. And the first thing he told his son was, you should have put the red tie on me at the funeral and not the blue one. And they had been arguing, the wife and the daughter-in-law, about the color of tie that he should wear. And another thing, he says, why didn't you keep me 2 days on viewing? I needed to see who was going to come see me, because he was a very proud man. So once he passed these messages, we decided to try him out and see if he could help us win the basketball game, because he was into basketball. So the other team was winning, and we had a team from Montreal. We used to go in and support them. And this other team was, I believe, from the States or so, and they were winning. Now, I called him, I said, why don't you help us? Why don't you just block the net? So the team would throw the ball in, and this man who had passed a little while before would throw the ball right out. The ball would go in, and it wouldn't go through, and he'd push it. And this happened 6, 7 times.
Oh, no.
So we started like making sounds and all happy, and the other team were looking at us like, what are these people doing? 7 balls, I believe it was 7 balls that didn't make it through the net. They would literally be pushed out. And he was a basketball fan because his sons all played basketball. So he was very fond of basketball. Yes, so he would, so they could do stuff like that. And my father's been helping Buffalo Bills win the football as well.
Really?
Because we have season tickets. So I said, Dad, we need a touchdown. And now, if you notice, we're 4-1, and we've never won any games. So that's it. So you guys might not like me because you're from New York here, but Buffalo Bills have been winning, and my father is adding to that happiness. So blame it on my dad. That's all.
I have a camera person who's hysterical over here.
Because we have season tickets for Buffalo. We go from Montreal to Buffalo for every game, and just to get the NFL experience, because that's the city we could have gone to go see. And my father, who's passed now, who's a sports fanatic, has been helping us get them touchdowns. So if you want my dad to help you with your games, just let me know, and I will help you guys.
That's good to know.
On
But
Sunday, we have a game.
they can affect the outcome of a game.
If they want to.
If they want to.
Yeah,
in other words, then they do have more ability
of course.
to control things that are going on here.
Yes, they can help you a lot more than when they are physically here.
And they can block somebody that's trying to harm you.
Definitely.
So even if it's another spirit that's with them in their sphere.
Well, a lot of times they take on roles of wanting to help family members.
Yes.
Because you do have things to do on the other side. You're not just going to walk around or fly around, or you have work to do.
Really, what kind of work?
You have to learn things. You have to accomplish things. There's dwellings for people on the other side. There's not just nice gardens. You have to stay somewhere. And a lot of times people will come back and help the ones that are still alive.
Do they ever just dwell where they used to dwell, you know? Or?
Here on this?
Yeah.
Well, they can come and hang around. It's not a very good thing to have them always around, but...
they can come and hang out, but they have their own little abode somewhere else.
Yeah, definitely.
Really?
Definitely. They just don't pay taxes.
Or rent?
Or rent.
What about food?
I don't think they need food on the other side.
They don't need food, they don't need sleep.
No, I don't. Well, I don't know if they need sleep. I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't
No.
think they have to sleep.
No.
Although sometimes you just want to, you know.
They don't have bills to pay.
They don't have bills to pay. The thing is, I understand, like, if there's somebody who like to eat, that they can conjure something up and eat.
I've not heard of that.
No?
No.
Oh.
No. I've not heard of that because they don't need that anymore.
Yeah. No, they don't. They don't. They
I
don't
don't
have
think
a physical
that
body that needs to be
They might
nourished.
just throw some food around, but I don't think that they actually need to. I don't know. I've
No,
not
they
heard
don't
of that.
like
Yeah.
they're going to die if they don't eat. But you know, there are
Perhaps
people.
they'll do something with the food. I don't think that they can actually ingest it or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. or have some kind of spiritual food or something.
I don't think that they need it at that point. That food is just for earthly people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are people that they do have they like to eat as a pastime.
Yeah.
So maybe on the other side, they might
I'm going
still
to have
like
to see if anyone wants to come and give us an idea if they eat. I've not communicated with anyone about that, but next time
I guess it's not a subject that just comes up, you know.
I don't know. Most of them just have messages, but I will ask next time if they do any kind of eating.
Yeah,
That would
that's
be
a good
interesting.
idea. That's
Yeah.
interesting, right?
Here's my little chapel.
There's a
again.
little chapel again.
Yep.
Yeah, it is the cutest thing.
Unfortunately, we do have minus 40 degrees in Montreal in the winter. So it's going
There
to
won't
be
be many people visiting
no,
then.
Not too many, because it will be completely covered in snow until the month of April.
Well, that's why I said let's do our show here in October, because you'd be more likely to see snow in another month or so.
Usually around Halloween, we get our first snowfall.
Really?
Yeah.
That's another 2 weeks?
Yes, we don't want to think about that, though.
No.
Yeah.
I know, yeah, you'll get it because you're further up north there.
We
And
get very cold weather.
you get 40 below. Well,
Yes.
we don't get that. We get down to maybe the single digits, and sometimes down to 2 or 3 or something like that, but it isn't really good 40 below.
We're lucky. We're lucky in that part.
Yeah, right. Though we did have 110 during the summer this year, and I've never seen
nice.
110 in my life.
You can send it up to us.
Okay.
Yeah, not a problem.
We'll see. Go up there. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, so now so you were 10 when you had an appearance of the Blessed Mother.
Yes.
And it was after that you started developing your gift of being able to communicate with.
Actually, I had that since I was younger, but at that point, it became overwhelming. I've experienced a lot since then.
Did it scare you at that age?
I actually went to seek the advice of a priest. I didn't know what was happening, and he was not very helpful, unfortunately.
Now, priests wouldn't be very helpful with something like that. No.
No, but I do have a priest, a friend of our family that is very helpful. He's very nice, and because after that experience, I said, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be talking to priests about this, but it turned out pretty good. And he's actually the one who blessed the chapel and the statue and all the holy waters blessed, the rosaries are blessed, everything's blessed.
So basically, it's got kind of a Catholic theme.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what religion.
No, it doesn't matter.
No.
Of course.
To me, it's like if anybody who has faith in anything higher, in a higher source, can appreciate something like that.
Well, if you get some miracles, you'll have to come back and talk about them.
Well, the thing is, I do a lot of prayers.
That's right. Give us
Yes.
a little bit on the miracles that you have experienced.
I've been praying since 1993, a specific little prayer to Archangel Raphael, who's in charge of healing, because everybody has a job to do. You can't be asking God or Jesus to do everything. So there's people or entities they have their work to do.
Dole out the job, sure.
Yes. So I've given the little figurine out to hundreds of people, and a lot of people come back, and whatever problem they had gets resolved. I had one lady who came into work where I was working, and she told me, unfortunately, her husband was on his deathbed. The doctors gave him no more hope. His kidneys were broken down. Everything was broken down. He was almost in a coma. So I gave her not only one little figurine, I gave her two, and I said, please bring this to your husband and give it to him. And she prayed with him that same day, and he was still able to understand. He was not completely gone. And that same day, the doctors were astonished. Everything came back. All his vital signs, his kidneys started working. Everything started working.
Wow.
So she came back to my workplace 3 weeks later, and I was expecting to hear news of her funeral. And she said to me, Claudia, I have no idea what to tell you. I don't know how to describe this to you, but my husband is healed, and he should be coming home soon.
Wow.
So, and she said, when he comes home, I will bring him to see you. And in fact, she brought him a few weeks later, and he says, are you Claudia? And he didn't know how to thank me, and I said, you don't have to thank me. And she says, I don't know what to say to you. And the man is fine, going to the park, playing, he's back to normal.
How nice.
And he was very close to death. And I have a lot of stories like that. But I like to pray for people and not even tell them that I'm praying. As long as you tell me someone is ill, I'll ask for a prayer for that person to be healed.
So then you feel that these miracles come from you going to...
They don't, I'm just the tool.
You go to Raphael,
Yes.
the archangel.
Yes.
And you feel that because you're requesting a healing from him,
Yes.
he will heal the person.
He doesn't, I do a lot of intense prayers, but even when I don't, like for instance, the woman in the bank, where I was working, I didn't even do an intense prayer for her husband, and it worked. So that's beautiful, because I don't have to go home and pray deeply. I can just ask for that person to be healed. And I've had hundreds of stories like that where things have diminished or have gone vanished.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
That's really amazing, because, well, miracles do happen. I believe in miracles.
Every day miracles
Every day
happen.
there are miracles. And I think that what you have to do is to believe.
That's the word, believe and have faith. If you have faith, you will have what you want. If you need to be healed and you don't want to pass from an illness, you will be healed.
Well, you know, what you put out there is what you bring back.
Definitely.
Whether it's an action or a word or a deed or a thought or an intention.
Yes.
And what you know, I mean, I have thought of a lot of things, and I've said, well, gee, it would be nice to have this or have this happen, and it would come about.
Yeah.
You know, it really is like, if you really believe that you're putting something out there that's going to be able to come back to you in the way you like it, it happens.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, in the meantime, this was very interesting to hear all the things that you had to say about the chapel. It's really nice, and all the pictures of the entities.
Well, I want to thank you for having me on your show, because
My
I was
pleasure.
not expecting this at all.
Well, you know what? After all the snow comes and goes now, in the spring, you'll come back,
Okay.
and we'll do some more stuff.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So in the meantime, and I thank you for, I mean, you made this trip, you and Antonio made this trip all the way from Montreal to do the show, and I'm just like walking on cloud 9 just thinking about that.
No, I'm very happy to have this chance to actually speak to the public and actually mention what's happening with the chapel and with everything else.
Well, that's good. And if anybody is interested in going up to the chapel, just contact me. My email address is at the end of the show. I'll get in touch with Claudia, and you'll go and see the chapel, and maybe you'll have a miracle too. In the meantime, everybody, good night. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Good night.